Hello practicum students. Very important message today, so make sure you watch the video all the way through in regards to COVID-19, what we're doing with practicum. I know that some of you have been texting me, we've been going back and forth, and everything up until just about an hour ago was continue with things as normal, though we all kind of suspected things would be changing. About an hour ago, the college leadership made a decision and has sent that email out to the students. So there is an email out there. Please make sure you review this email as well. But long story short, as I look at the email, the impact for you is that the suspension of all clinical and practicums, any field experiences until March 30th, okay? Practicum is suspended until March 30th. Do not go to practicum, okay? Now, that is the college with the CDC guidelines, us making that decision. Many of your practicum sites are also shutting down, and they're not letting students, they're only letting essential personnel. So right now, nobody wants extra people out in the facilities, students or whatnot. So that is what is happening. But to be clear, do not go to practicum until March 30th, okay? Or until they may extend that. We'll have to wait and see on that. Okay, so what are we going to do? I know that this is a very difficult, practicum is difficult in general. Just in our normal mode, practicum is difficult in trying to fit these hours in with your academics and your work and life responsibilities. Many of us now have children at home, as I do. Many of us are moving to working at home, as I will be doing after today. So a lot of changes right now going on in American society. So I talked to Dr. Watson. She is the director for the MHA program, and thinking of options that we can do for our practicum students. So basically right now you have two options, two paths to choose. Okay, and we would like you to make a choice in which path that you would like to choose. So take a day or so to figure it out. You may go right away when I tell you the path, and you're going to know which one you want to do. But email me which path that you choose. All right, let's talk about path one. Path one is normal practicum. Okay, continue to do your normal practicum whenever we get the green light. Okay. The college will have to give a green light, and your facility will have to give a green light. Who knows when that's going to be? Could be March 30th. Could be June 30th. Could be July 30th. We don't know when that green light is going to happen. But if you want to continue that, we'll call it that traditional practicum experience, we don't want to take that away from you. Okay? What it may mean is that, and most likely will mean, is that it would delay your graduation. Okay, now we do have a couple semesters to get all of your hours in, but let's say we're reaching the end of next semester, and you don't get all your hours in by August. We'd have to give you an incomplete grade, and you'd have to finish your hours, at some time beyond August. Okay. Or you may get them done in time. I don't know. It really depends on when everything gets cleared and everybody can resume kind of a normal life, and how quickly that happens. The longer, of course, that we delay getting back to normal, the more that it compresses the time that you can get your traditional practicum hours in. So that's option one. I want to continue the traditional experience, okay? Email me if that's what you want. You're going to email me either way. You got to choose a path. Path number two is that we do something what we're going to call as a digital or virtual practicum experience. So, what does that mean? Basically, it's this. So you can email your preceptor or call them, whatever way you've been normally talking. And let's say you call your preceptor and you tell them, look, hey, we've been suspended from practicum, we can't go. They probably know this was coming, or they've even suspended you from going. But you're going to notify them that you can't come. but that you can still continue to work on a practicum experience with them in primarily a research-driven role. So what that means is, let's say, for example, let's say you're doing your practicum in human resources, and you're working with a human resource director, and let's say she's got a great idea that she wants you to research. Maybe she needs help in employee retention tactics for in human resources, and she says, I really need some ideas, and can you write up a white paper on that? Perfect. You can work on that white paper, that research paper for them. And then you can present that to them. There's a deliverable you can give them. Hey, here's the research article. Here's the research I put together, my references, all of that. And then you can present them a deliverable. And then you also get something that connects with that original practicum, whether it's, whatever that discipline is, that area, HR or operations or quality, whatever that, all of you are in different areas. So that's what it would be. You basically would do some research on their behalf on a topic. Now you may call them, they may have an idea right off the bat. Hey, I really need some research done in this area. Or you could suggest to them an idea. Feel free to do that. Hey, I'm not going to be able to do practicum like normal, but I'd really like to do some research, on how to reduce repeat radiographs, which is a problem. It's a problem in X-ray. You don't want to take somebody's X-ray twice. It's not good for the same body part. It means you made a mistake on the first one and you got to fix it on the second one. That means the patient gets extra radiation. But you could say, I really am interested in this area and I would love to present you some research on that. Would that be something that you would like? And they go, oh yeah, that'd be great. Please go ahead and go forward and, put that together. So you could suggest an idea to them. Okay. Totally, it's kind of you guys work together on identifying an area of research. And what I would ask that you do, for the most part, is put that together in a white paper format. Okay. So you can Google white papers and, see what they look like, but it's kind of like a research paper, but not necessarily as structured and a little bit more, friendly, more business friendly. Okay. But it does need to have peer reviewed, quality doesn't, not necessarily all peer reviewed. So you have a little bit more leeway there, but quality references for, what you're writing. So it's kind of like what you've been doing all the way through, this program, but a little bit more, a little tinge and less academic. But, you can go the full academic route with, kind of a much more rigorous format if you wish, but usually what's more friendly to business people is more that white paper style. But it is research. It is not opinion. You can't just give your opinion. It has to be research-based, evidence-based practices, theories, whatever you're coming up with for the majority of this work. You can extrapolate these ideas to come up with a strategy. Maybe they say, hey, come up with a strategy in doing this. And that is whatever that might be, come up with a strategy or a game plan. That's great. And you can take, best practices and other ideas and then kind of mold them into your own game plan. But again, that's all going to be typically evidence-based stuff. Here's why we're going to do it this way because, XYZ worked for other organizations similar to ours. All right. So you're going to work on something, what I would call a white paper, research-based, that you can do from home. You can do when the kids are here. That you can, that keeps you doing something related to that original practicum assignment. Hopefully something that's valuable to the preceptor, and to you. And it's also something that you can demonstrate to, I talked to all of you before you started practicum and why we like project-based works because it has a demonstratable deliverable that you can talk about and, in an interview down the road. I mean, wouldn't it be kind of cool is that if you wrote this white paper, you might even be able to get it published. That would be pretty great. But you could say, you know, hey, I developed a white paper on reducing, you know, repeat radiographs in imaging, inpatient imaging facilities. You could say something like that. And that would be, I think, really valuable on your resume or CV, having that deliverable. You could even share it with someone if you were doing an interview. Say, would you like it? I would love to share it with you. Would you like to see it? And they can see the quality of your work and, you know, how great you are. You know, so that's, I think, this actually will give you a tangible deliverable, and we'll have mission accomplished on what we want to do with Practicum. Again, we have to be all a little flexible, a little creative, in getting there. And I think this check marks most of the boxes that we need. There are some boxes that we're clearly not checking. That networking box is not checked as much as we need it to be. You know, kind of getting to know other people in a facility, them getting to know you as a worker, you know, kind of on a, there's nothing like working next to somebody where you kind of get to know them. That those parts are diminished with this type of experience. But that's why we're giving you two options. One, wait it out. Continue with the traditional experience whenever we get the green light. I have no clue when that's going to be. Or two, discuss with your preceptor a research project that will ultimately develop what I'm calling a white paper in an area of mutual interest. You know, that maybe benefits the department and benefits an area of interest that benefits you as well. All right, so let's say my guess is, after talking to all of you and the difficulties with Practicum, my guess is that most of you, not all, but most of you will probably choose option 2, the virtual research-based project that you can do in the privacy of your own home. How are we going to equate that to hours? Well, basically coming up with a pretty simple formula. For every hour, well, let me put it this way. Some of you already have hours banked. Some of you have some significant hours banked. Chris, are these hours going to waste? How am I going to count these hours and do this paper thing that, you know, I might be writing, this research paper, this white paper that I'm going to be writing, and research I'm compiling, for my preceptor. And how does that all equate? Well, we've come up with a formula. So for every single page of research-based, okay, not opinion, not, you know, just you writing, journaling, of research-based product is equating to 4 hours of practicum. Okay, and it's double-spaced typed, all right, not single-spaced, double-spaced, normal margins here, people. You know, APA margins, Times New Roman, 12-point font. Every single page of that research-based product that you're producing will equate to 4 hours of practicum. That's pretty good, all right? That, if you think about it, you know, might take you a couple hours of research to create that page, and then a couple hours of writing, that single page. Most of you are probably creating single pages in 2 hours. That including the research and the writing. So 4 hours, I think, works out, pretty good. Includes a lot of in-depth research time, and then really crafting a nice, well-crafted page of work. I know sometimes we have to write work quickly to get the work in, so we're not late, with an assignments, and sometimes we don't craft, and I'm guilty of this as well. It's all a balancing act, but with 4 hours for one page, the page should be crafted pretty good. Something that you feel very good about giving to somebody else to look at, or sharing with the group, which, towards the end of the experience, we're going to circulate these, white papers, among the group. So that'll be kind of a win as well, that we can all kind of look at it and your peers are going to look at it. So I believe the 4-to-1 ratio is pretty good. Okay, guys? So with that, you could pretty much calculate out what you need to do. Now, roughly, and I don't have my calculator with me right now, my phone, but let's say you were starting from scratch and you were doing the 120 hours. That equates to about a 30-page document. You may think, oh my God, a 30-page document is brutal. It's 120 hours, A 30, you imagine working on a document for 3 weeks, solid 40 hours a week. easily doable. Most people can, in 40 hours, write a 30-page document. So, being given, 3 weeks to do a 30-page document. Does that mean that you have to write a 30-page document? No. You take the hours you've already banked and just do the math, knowing that, for each 4-hour increment that you need left to complete practicum, you got to write a page of research. So you can base the research, your project kind of off of, okay, I got to do, you'll do the math. I got to do 10 pages. Okay? You got to know what you need to do for 10 pages. If for some of you none of you, some of you are just starting practicum this week. So you may be looking at more hours, and which would equate to more pages. But none of you will do more than 30 pages or required to do more than 30. Okay? Very doable. All right, so that is what we have, those two pathways. I made a little note to myself too. About this project, I'm calling it a white paper because that's what jumps to my mind very quickly that I think would fit what a preceptor would want and I think what you would want to do. Especially you might even be able to get this thing published. Wouldn't that be cool? And we can talk about, as we do this white paper, we can talk about maybe venues to get it which is huge if you could get it published. And it also could be a deliverable that you could give to, a potential employer to look at the quality of your research-based work. And you kind of show expertise in a certain area, especially if you're going for a job in that area. Very few candidates are going to come in with a, 15, 10, 20 page, 30 page document, showing improvement practices or whatever in that area that you're looking at. That's going to really, I think, set you apart as someone who's really serious about that particular area if you happen to be going up for a job in the discipline that you wrote your white paper in. The white paper could also, we can be creative here, but again, research-based, intent. A literature review, I think, would be also great. That you could review the literature on a certain topic, and then, provide that to the preceptor. Most likely a white paper would, you're going to be obviously reviewing many literature sources and putting it together. But, if you're stuck on what this thing would look like, whether you go white paper or traditional APA paper or lit review, feel free to talk to me and we can kind of work it out. So I don't want to say it has to be a hard, fast format on, the ultimate shape of it is, though I think most of you will probably lean more towards the white paper type format. Again, a little bit more forgiving, a little bit more commercial friendly, a little bit more commercial friendly for you getting published versus a traditional research paper. So I think it kind of check marks more boxes than other methods, but I don't want to limit you in that way. All right, guys. So that's what one other very important point. So if you choose for this group only, okay, for you guys, for this is a deal for only you folks, okay? So for the folks that are currently out in practicum, because we know we're kind of, we don't want you to feel like you have to be switched around too much. Let's say you decide to choose option 2, the research project. And things are going great and you're doing your research project and then this COVID thing, it passes and everything's great and it's, April and and all the clinical sites and everybody's giving a green light, okay? We are not going to ask you to go back out to the traditional practicum experience. You can finish all of your hours in research-based mode, independent of what happens with COVID-19, okay? So let me say that again. If you choose path 2, research-based, you can continue and bank and just log all your 120 hours. 1 page equals 4 hours. So you can get all those in and just stay with that all the way to the end, okay? If you want, again, we're making very, very careful. We don't want to take things away from you. If you want, you can go back and to complete your hours. You can say, I've got 6 pages done on my research project and I'm going back out to practicum. Okay, well, that's 6 is what, 24 hours. So you got that banked, and 6 pages of written equals 24 hours of labor or of practicum. Great, go back out. You can go back out if you want. Okay, but I want to also let you know that you don't have to go back out once the green light happens. I have no idea, when this, no one knows when, kind of society will clear on this particular issue and we'll get back to normal. I don't think it's going to happen in the next 8 weeks. So, but there you go. All right. So what do you need to do? Here are your action steps. Choose your option. Option 1, continue on with the traditional pathway, whenever we get back to normal, which understand the serious ramifications that may need for completing the program. Okay, because you got to log the hours in for us to get that done. Option 2, go with the research project. Contact your preceptor. Kick around some ideas about a topic, hone in on that topic, and then go crazy and have fun. Okay, and write that white paper, that lit review, whatever shape you want to take that in. You write that research-based project, with every 4 pages of work, okay? Not counting the cover page, not counting the references, guys. Every 4 pages of work, or every single page of work, is equated to 4 hours of practicum, okay? And then you can continue, so you got to pick one of those 2 choices, okay? And then you can, if we get the green light to go back out to practicum, I'm going to reach out to you again and say, what do you want to do? You want to go back or do you want to stay? You'll have that option to either can stay with the research or based experience or go back. My guess is most of you probably will finish up that white paper or whatever you're working on. But you'll have the option. Okay, so those are the 2 things you need to do. You need to pick between one of those 2 options and email me. That's why I know you've saw the video. Email me which one that you're choosing, okay? You also need to remember, do not go to practicum. We are in a definite lockdown on physical practicum right now, no matter what. Whatever you choose, no practicum until March 30th. Now, if you choose the digital practicum, you can start on that right away. I wouldn't wait. Start writing your pages. Start getting your 4 hours per page. Reach out to your preceptor. Figure out what you want to do that white paper on. And then another important thing that you need to do is to reach out to your preceptor no matter what and tell them, I'm not going to be out in practicum. We're on lockdown. Okay, and then you'll also know which option that you're going to be. If you're going to be option 1, you're going to say, we're on lockdown right now. Tentatively, I'll be back on the 30th. Stay tuned. They may tell you, don't come back at all. We're on lockdown until April. Who knows? But do reach out to your preceptor and tell them you're not going to be there anymore. And then if you're also telling them you're not going to be there, you might as well go ahead and discuss that white paper topic if you're going to go with option 2. Okay? So there's your action steps that you need to do. Talk to your preceptor, let them know what's going on, determine a white paper topic if you're going that route. Let them know you're not going to be there. And then the other thing you need to do, email me. Let me know which choice that you're going to pick. Okay? It's very, very important so I get an idea of who's doing what. All right. Other than that, hopefully that covers everything in about 25 minutes. We know this has been a really crazy time. I've never seen anything quite like this. Obviously, 9/11 was a disruption, but it was very localized, and it cleared relatively quickly. This appears to last a little bit longer than something like 9/11. In my youth, I was in elementary school. We had the blizzard of '78. We were hunkered down in our homes for a couple of weeks, but once the weather cleared, we came back, and that was very localized to the Midwest. So this is kind of weird, but with flexibility, I think we can all do pretty good here and still get the intent of the learning experience. All your other classes are going as normal. That's the great thing about online. We're not impacted by that. all your classes are still trucking along in the same format that that you've had all the way through the program. All right, guys, that's pretty much it. Please email me if you have any additional questions, but also email me which of the two options that you are choosing. Everybody have a great week out there and stay safe. Thanks.